Hi everyone, welcome to the Icehouse podcast. I'm Bryar Stewart, the community manager at the Icehouse, and today we have Shane Smith, the business owner of Palmers Bethlehem. He is currently on Owner Manager Programme 53 alongside our recent guest Shane Ford, and so I thought while I'm here in Tauranga, I might as well come check out the shop and interview Shane. So thanks heaps, Shane, for being on the podcast.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, it's exciting. So let's jump into that first question. Tell us about your journey into business ownership. How did it all happen and why Palmers for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting story in that I class myself as an accidental owner. I'm a career banker, and one day in my work, someone wanted to buy Palmers in Bethlehem, and after getting them their appropriate approvals for various reasons, they decided not to progress, and the broker involved initially blamed me for tipping the deal over, and I had a throwaway comment of saying, "I love this business, even I would buy it."
Wow.
So 3 weeks later, the broker came back and asked me if I was serious, and I stuttered and stammered and said, "Well, I'm not sure, maybe, yes, kind of." 3 or 4 months later, we were the owners.
Wow.
So we weren't actively looking for a business, but Palmers did resonate with a few things.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, about 30 years ago, my wife and I said if we ever were going to own a business, we'd like to own a garden centre.
Wow.
Because we lived on a lifestyle block and love gardens and that sort of thing. But that's just a young couple's dream type sort of thing, rather than anything real. But then Palmers itself had the quality of brand, which resonated with me.
Yeah.
The business had scale, which resonated with me, so I wasn't going to be that person that was the be-all and end-all of the business. It had structure, and had a whole lot of attributes like that, which just pushed my buttons and made it feasible.
Man, that's a crazy story, eh? Bit of a throwaway comment turns into now we're sitting in your office at Palmers in Bethlehem. That's awesome.
It is, yes, it is.
I knew this would make a good story. Shane was like, it's great. It's banker to business owner. I was like, that's awesome. What does the business specialise in for those that maybe don't know?
Well, look, it's interesting. So we class ourselves first and foremost, we're a garden centre. Mm-hmm. Most of our business, probably 65% of our business is green. Yeah. So it's the plants and bits and pieces. But like everybody else, you expand your business into other markets, and so we've got a big leisure department now also, which is we sell spa pools, and we're Tauranga's only specialist Weber dealer. So that's been a big addition. Now we're selling outdoor furniture, so we're now attracting that whole lifestyle sort of an approach, which is something you just have to do. There's no point just selling them roses if you can sell them the other things that they want to enjoy in their gardens and around their homes. So, but predominantly some garden centres have morphed more to leisure and a little bit less on our garden centre. We're staying true to our roots, which is garden centre first, other things second. Yeah. So it's been our belief, and it's worked well.
I walked in and I saw the spas and I was like, oh, good to know for one day in the future. I was like, I didn't realise. And that leads me to a sort of a side question. So do you have the ability, even though it's a household name and a franchise, I'm guessing, do you have the ability to choose sort of what you end up selling?
Yeah, broadly speaking, yes. Yeah. So there's about 80% of our business has to be put through a Palmers nominated supplier, but then there's 20% that doesn't. But within that, we can choose to stock whatever we like. There's some core lines that
of course.
Everyone has vegetables. Everyone has roses. So there's some basic things which everyone in the group will have. But then out of all of the stores, which is only 12. 3 of us are Weber dealers, the others aren't. I think there's 3 of us that sell true form spa pools of any quantity, the others just sort of dabble in them, but 3 of us have taken it seriously and have made a real effort. So you can do pretty much what you like within the group.
Yeah, that's so interesting, That's cool. Nice, this is awesome. Cool, it's going well. Cool. So what's a win and a challenge inside of your business and the industry at the moment? And has COVID affected anything in the last 18 months?
Well, it's interesting. For us, the win is COVID.
Yeah.
So garden centres have really benefited out of COVID.
Benefited?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a big win for us. So we've had our 2 biggest years since COVID has been in place. We were on a growth trajectory before that, but COVID has well and truly given us a good shunt.
Is that just because people were like so keen to get their head into the garden? They're in lockdown. They've got time to do their gardens and stuff.
I mean, between the 2 lockdowns, 2020 to this year, there's been a little bit of a change. After the first lockdown, we had masses of new gardeners coming in. People had a voracious appetite for vegetables and fruit trees, and so there's that little thing of sustainable gardening and people wanting to do things for themselves, and that those few days before, it's really interesting, the few days before lockdown came and we had that warning that we're transitioning towards the full lockdown, we had people in here panic buying. And who would have thought in a garden centre? But they were snatching vegetable seedlings off. We sold out of almost every packet of vegetable seeds in the place. Things that were going to only grow in summer, people were buying anyway. And when they were buying them, you could see fear in their eyes, and it was really, really interesting.
Wow.
Then when they came back afterwards, they probably realised that they hadn't yet eaten what they'd planted. But still, the gardeners work through the seasons, and so they made up for lost time. But lots of new gardeners coming in, lots of new families, clearly starting vegetable gardens, little orchards in their backyards. So food seedlings have been enormous. And then I think that follow on from that is because people haven't been able to travel. Spa pools, barbecues,
more luxury
items. They've been big spenders, but the green side of our business is the growth in there has been enormous, and people spending time at home, they're spending time in their gardens. So COVID's a win.
Wow.
The challenge comes with that though, in that pressure on staff has been enormous. Supply, as we come out of lockdown, supply is a bit of an issue because especially seedlings, they have a certain period of time from when they plant the seed that they can deliver, and if they don't know exactly when they're coming out, it's difficult for them to be supplying on day one. So the first lockdown was a bit tough to get supply, and it took 2 or 3 weeks for it to build up. This one has been better for us in that we're short and sharp. The vegetables that arrived were a little bit bigger than normal, but it was fine. It didn't take long for them to transition. And the other thing for us was because Auckland has remained closed, a lot of the stock that the big box stores just take, that we can't get supply of for various reasons, the nurseries were ringing us pleading for us to take stock.
Wow.
So we then suddenly got the pick of some really interesting stuff. So it'll be interesting next year to see if they remember that we helped them out this time as to whether they do this, something similar. And I think in some cases they will. In other cases, naturally from a business perspective, they'll go back to the big box stores because money's quick, money's easy, and that's where they'll put their product. So,
totally.
And more recently, imported goods, barbecues have become tight supply, importing. Spa pools, while they're made in New Zealand, components come from offshore, and demand has been so high that they can't find a workforce big enough to manufacture them fast enough.
Wow.
We're sitting here in December. The next lot of spa pools we can get are in February. We've sold out all of our stock through to February.
Wow.
And we've got orders out to next August.
My gosh.
And we're selling manufacturing space now.
Wow.
To do it, so which is that's something really different from a garden centre. That's something that we wouldn't normally have had to wrestle with.
But like you said, sort of scale opportunities too a bit, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've got that ability because of the scale of our greens business. If our greens business was not so big and so strong, then we couldn't dabble in the barbecues and the spa pools and the furniture and the all the other bits and pieces that we like to have a little play in, and we always trying to seek out new products that might be something a bit different, but we have to have that strong greens business.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, mind-blowing actually. It's just interesting hearing how COVID affects every business in a different way, but supply chain and people always is mentioned, always comes through. Finding good people, looking after good people, and then just the supply chain issues and challenges. So that's interesting.
People in this industry, it's really interesting that because of the reliance on green product, it's not something you can generally just hire someone off the street because they don't know a petunia from a pansy sort of thing. And so a lot of our staff, are more mature in years.
Got to be passionate.
Yeah, and they've started work in nurseries somewhere, propagating plants, or they're just absolute passionate gardeners. They're here for because they love working with plants. But that also makes it a challenge when you need to find staff. So the best place to do that is try and pinch them from somebody else. And so they're not coming in off the street. So you've always got to be. We take people even if we don't need them, if they have the right skill set, because at some point someone will leave and we've already got an able replacement. So sometimes we carry overstaff, and that's a deliberate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Practice,
if they're there, take them while they're there.
If they got the skills, you'll find a place for them, and just have to carry them.
Wow, that's so interesting. That's cool. Awesome. What's a piece of advice that you would have given yourself at the start of your business ownership journey, knowing what you know now?
First piece would be, don't buy a garden centre business and settle in the busiest month of the year. So we settled in October, so right in the middle of spring.
Yeah, wow.
For about the first 2 weeks, I think I just stood there and my mouth was open, trying to work out what the heck was going on.
Did you have a feeling of like, what have I done?
Very much so. Very much so. I spent a bit of time in inwards goods to start at that end of the business, to watch the product come in and help process it. And the interesting thing was, of all my business knowledge through banking, that was great. I can read a spreadsheet and a balance sheet and a profit and loss account, and I can ask all the nice bankery questions and understand if they're a good risk to lend money to. But what I didn't do is have the comprehension of the logistics of how many seedling plants come in. How many. We sell 4,500 roses a year. And a big chunk, over about 1,200 of those we pot ourselves. Someone's got their hands in the dirt, potting those, counting those, stacking those, and we're still only a small business. And I didn't have that. Didn't understand the logistics part. So that was a mind bender. But after now, this is my fourth spring. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, cool.
Once you've got the systems in place, or not having the systems, actually understanding the systems that are in place. Because we've got such really cool people here that know what to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes if there's a roadblock, just look in the mirror. It's me trying to think about can we do this better?
Yeah.
And actually, more often than not, we can't.
Yeah, they know what
they're doing, and you just get out of their way and let them do their job.
Yeah. How long do you think it took you to get to that point of being like, okay, I get this now, I know what I'm doing?
I felt probably inside 12 months, I felt I knew what I was doing, but to get comfortable with the spring build-up probably took 2 springs. Before I was, now I'm pretty blasé about, the stock levels that come in, and, we know that sort of July, August, we're starting to ramp up with different pieces of product ready for spring. And, at first that was not quite overwhelming, but yeah, very challenging to get my head around. Now it's I know how it works.
Yeah,
so it's great.
That's great.
And I'm lucky. I've got fabulous staff. I've got a couple of really cool managers. They know what to do. Get out of their way.
Yeah.
Let them do what they're best at.
Yeah.
And I'll do what I'm best at.
Yeah. Brilliant. Great team. That's awesome. How did you hear about how did you hear about the Icehouse, and what was your sort of first point of contact?
Well, the Icehouse thing's interesting for me because I was with the BNZ. And
yes, of course.
BNZ are a partner of the Icehouse.
Yeah.
So over years, I'd encouraged my clients to go on owner manager programs and other bits and pieces. We regularly had the Icehouse into our partners centre talking to us, and we had a relationship there. So sort of 3 years into the business, I decided that it was time to spend some money on myself and try and develop myself. You know, you don't know what you don't know. Which is a bit ironic that I was actually telling people they should go on it, but I actually had no idea really what it was going to be. But that being said, I knew from the feedback from my customers the value that they got out of it.
Yeah, awesome.
And I felt that this was a year. We started this year saying this was the year of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It was sort of our little mantra.
Cool.
And this was part of it. Challenge myself and do something different.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. Because you're halfway through now.
Halfway through, so we've got COVID hasn't been helpful.
No.
We should have been finished in October. We'll be now finished in March.
Yeah. Start
of March. And I think we're all looking forward to getting back on it. It's we've got OMP 53 is a pretty awesome group.
Yeah, cool.
It's a pretty social group.
Yeah.
So I think we're all looking forward to getting back and finishing it. So
that's cool.
Can't wait.
Heard good things. That's awesome. Has there been anything that you've implemented into your business and your lifestyle since the first couple of blocks on the program?
Yeah. The one of the first thoughts I had when I was going on the Icehouse would be really how much knowledge I was going to get from the facilitators.
Yeah, totally.
But where the value's coming is how much knowledge I'm getting from the other participants.
Yes, I love that.
When we're sitting around the table having discussions and there's a guest speaker, might be talking about HR, and then we're all chipping in different things and
experiences you've gone
through
and
sort of hearing, this is what I do for my staff, and it's like, wow, really, that's really cool. So I've brought back little bits and pieces around that I've heard what other guys are doing.
Great.
Kine, who's at White Power Sports, we've talked about structure, and he talks about having filling a red box. And looking at my structure, and the red box is basically identifying now a position that I need, and for me it is someone that will become me, well, not quite become me, but
2IC
like a 2IC. So I'll have the managers there doing what they do from an operational perspective, but having someone that can take a lot of the other stuff off me and let me do some of the things that I want to do. I still work. I work full time in the business. We are open for 365 and a half days a year.
Wow.
We close Christmas Day and Anzac morning. We do run the Easter gauntlet. But I work every second weekend.
Still heavily involved in the business.
In the hands-on stuff. I'm working on the tills. I'm throwing bags of compost in my customers' cars, or
I walked in and you're moving some flowers
price stuff, and I just jump in and help everyone where it's needed.
Great.
But I do need someone to start doing some of that stuff for me, so I can do some of the other stuff that I want to do in life. So and that came out of our group work. So it's been very cool. Some of the sessions have been particularly good. I'm trying to think of the chap's name.
What did you guys talk about? I might be able to help you.
It was the guy in Christchurch who's the business. He's like a merchant banker.
Not sure.
So he does, you pay like a business game.
Oh, yep, the financial sort of stimulation thing.
And you do, the end of it, you one business has to go into liquidation, and you know, there's some fundamental things there that resonated with me as a banker.
Yeah, of course.
But then it was talking about business valuation and that sort of thing, and I found that really, really interesting. And I think what it's done for me also is that every day I come to work now, it's with a view of setting the business up for sale.
Wow, interesting.
And it's, I don't want to be here forever. My kids do different things, so it's unlikely that they want to come in here, so I'm just trying to maximise the value.
Cool.
And I don't want to say, I want to sell and then have to go through a 12-month process to set it up for sale. So every day, you know, I sort of look at little things and say, you know, how do we tidy that up so we can be ready to go if we can. So
it's so
and that's been taken out of the Icehouse as well.
That's cool. The team have been talking recently about just that succession planning or exit planning and stuff like that, and how important it is. Creating some content around that, because a lot of business owners sort of thinking like that now, which is important.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, I've got an exit date in my head.
Wow.
And if it happens that an opportunity comes up sooner, I want to be in a position to jump on that.
That's awesome. That's great. Love it. Love this conversation. Very real and authentic, which is cool. What do you look forward to for the rest of the program? Maybe definitely the people connection, that's a given.
Finishing.
And
I only say finishing because it's been a long process.
With
COVID's
with
not big holiday in the middle,
being
sort
helpful.
of thing. So getting back to, actually, to be honest, I'm actually not even sure what we're going to be starting with again next time. I think pulling it together. I think, you know, when we get to the end of the program, and I guess there'll be a summary process of what it's all been for, and just re-understanding that. I think the Icehouse has just made me critically look at the business regularly, a lot more.
That's cool.
I'm different in my eyes to the other participants. I'm not an entrepreneur. I haven't started something from scratch. I haven't got a new product that I make or do anything like that. I don't want to be 3 times my size. I've got my own growth targets, which will produce the outcome that I want. And I'm still a conservative banker by, you don't have 30 odd years of conservative banking being rammed into your head, and then suddenly throw that out the window and become an entrepreneur. That's not how it works. So that overlays every decision that I make, both positively and negatively. Sometimes being too conservative is not great.
It's funny how many people say that they don't believe the entrepreneurs, that I think there is a difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur, and I think people definitely feel that sometimes in their mind, whether that's imposter syndrome speaking or genuinely, they haven't started something from scratch and all that sort of stuff. There is a bit of a difference there,
It is, and I think you used that word imposter syndrome. And I think when we were doing our business plan, I think it came up with a couple of us that had actually put that in our comments, and when the business is going well, sometimes you have a look at it and say, have I really played a role in that? Is it because of anything that I've done, or is it just because something else has happened, or is it someone else has done
Good
it?
Stuff,
But sometimes you just don't know, really, and maybe that's just being a bit hard on yourself. I don't know.
I think so.
But I certainly don't want to go back to banking.
I
don't miss it.
He won't be going back to that, but there'll be something new that's exciting on the other side. That's cool. Good segue really into what does excite you about the future of your business.
Well, it's really interesting because the way we trade now, I wasn't sure that this business and this site had the capacity to trade at that level.
Wow.
I thought that we've well surpassed what I thought from what I bought it at to where it's trading now. I thought it was a very mature business and its growth was pretty capped, but it's just shown me the capacity that the business does have. So that's sort of quite exciting.
It's really exciting.
I think it's also proven. We've spent a lot of time since I've been here trying to empower people.
Yeah.
This was a run on a slightly different business model from a guy who used to own it, that started it, and he was a nurseryman from when he left school.
Yeah, of course.
He was a good businessman, but that's the way he ran it. So he could tell you any technical thing about any plant or any fertiliser or anything like that. And so when Peter left, he did a lot of things himself, and so I've had to empower other people that did have the knowledge to try and do that, and some of them have taken to it really, really well. Some less so.
Yeah.
But my thing is to empower them. So if I'm not here, I need it to keep operating, and I'm at a point now where I think it actually runs better when I'm not here. So
that's not a bad thing. That is a very good thing.
A bad thing.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point now. If I do go away for a period of time, I don't worry about the business. I used to.
Yeah,
I used to sweat it. I used to be ringing in all the time to find out what was happening.
Yeah.
Now I don't care. Well, don't say I don't care, but I bolt. I know they've got it.
Yeah.
I don't
trust
have to
the
worry about
team.
it. Trust the managers. Trust the team that is supporting them.
Yeah. That's such a good place to be.
Yeah.
Oopsies. That's awesome. That's the goal, isn't it? Cool. Well, honestly, thank you so much, Shane. Great conversation. Banker to business owner. I think that's a really interesting title right there. But it's a beautiful space. You can tell the team are just so welcoming. Even when I walk through the doors, big smiles, happy to be here. It's great to have a conversation, and I hope this combo actually empowers another business owner that goes, I don't know if, I'm not an accountant or a builder, or, I'm in a different industry that may not, need support from the Icehouse. Well, it's just good to hear a diverse range of stories. So appreciate your time.
Thanks, Bryar. And if anyone's contemplating doing an Icehouse course, just do it. Just do it. It is awesome.
Promise we didn't pay him to say that.
I'll enjoy the wine or the coffee or something later.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane.